The big thing is tomorrow night you got Browns versus Bills, which means you got Baker Mayfield and the Browns circus and Tyrod Taylor and all that stuff against Josh Allen and his 600-yard passes and the other quarterbacks. This is like the most exciting preseason game for me, and that's tomorrow night's game, since Andrew Luck versus RG3. I think that was 2011.
Yeah.
They played each other in the preseason, and I was like, oh, my God, I got to watch this. And it was kind of fun to watch. It was exciting. So I'm looking forward to that tomorrow. Tonight I'm watching a little Sam Darnold, and then when I kick back, I'm going to watch TV with my family.
Yeah, that happens to me every year where I get excited about that young quarterback matchup, and it even happened to me this year with the first week of Mahomes and Deshaun Watson, and then you watch for 5 seconds. You're like, oh wait, well, this was a complete waste of time. What am I doing here? I'm just gonna flip around and try to watch some stuff. What do you make of that Bills quarterback situation though? Because Josh Allen moves up, and we've been asking a whole bunch of different people about it, but it seems like he's going to be the number 2. Most teams don't carry that third quarterback, and I can't imagine. It feels anyways like a AJ McCarron or Nathan Peterman. One of those guys is going to be gone. But if you go that way and you have that arm talent and you're in a position where you're not really going to win this year anyways, wouldn't you have to consider starting Josh Allen, or do you want to see him protected? Like, how do you see this playing out?
Different quarterbacks are in different stages of their development, because we'll say at the beginning of the year, well, quarterbacks should always start week 1, or they should always sit for 4 years like they did in the 50s or whatever. And each guy is different. I think Josh Allen is kind of in that middle ground a little bit, where mechanically he's not really sound. From an accuracy standpoint, just throwing ordinary passes against air, it's not 100% where it needs to be. So if you've got a guy who might be still thinking about where he puts his feet, or he puts his arm, and how he handles the snap from center and things like that, it doesn't matter what your priorities are. You sit him for a couple of weeks, because by the bye week, he can be more comfortable with the center snap, and he can be more comfortable with that stuff because he's practicing it all the time on the sidelines, and he's working on that nuts and bolts stuff. And that's what I think is the case. He's clearly more talented than A.J. McCarron and Nathan Peterman. It's not even close in terms of the ability to throw footballs. Even when you see him on the move, it's a different guy out there. But I think they knew coming in that this was a guy incredibly raw, who's going to throw some passes and bounce them off the apparatus on the side of the field and stuff like that. And you still see some of that, and you still hear some of that coming out of camp. So I advocate the idea of them letting him rest, letting him learn for a few more weeks, not putting that week 1 pressure on him, but at the same time getting everything they can down. He doesn't have to be perfect to go out there and take the field. He just has to be confident in what he's doing, and I think it's only a matter of time before he gets there.
Yeah, Jalen Ramsey says he's trash, though, so must be.
Jalen Ramsey says everybody's trash. That doesn't count.
I thought that Jalen Ramsey was right about a few things. He might have been off on a couple. I was like, yeah, you know what? That's a pretty fair assessment, Jalen.
Yeah. Before we let you go, Mike, so Hard Knocks is plenty of content for all of us. It really feels like a lot of people have real lasting takeaways about Hue Jackson and the Cleveland Browns because of a television program, which they have final say on the cut, right? Are we overreacting to that show, or does this feel appropriate?
We're overreacting a little bit, but here's the thing. We have a coach who went 1-31 over the last 2 years. Before that, a couple of years before that, he wound up before he was the Bengals coordinator. He was in Oakland, and he kind of got into this weird palace intrigue in Oakland after the passing of Al Davis. He kind of there was like a Game of Thrones situation. He was in charge. He made crazy trades. Next thing you know, they're firing him to go with the next guy. He's got a little bit of a reputation, both from losing all those games and from his past history, that we're interested in how he handles things day to day, week to week, with some of these high profile coordinators he has. So I think we're getting a little silly when we read into every word he says. But then when, we hear him sounding a little condescending, or when we hear him saying, well, we have a system here, and we remember that system went 0-16 last year. It's hard not to look at it and wonder a little bit and say, boy, this must be that guy that we were kind of worried about, and he's kind of showing us some of the things that we thought. We assumed we had evidence that they were some of the problems that have led to Jackson and the Browns in this situation there.
I really did laugh at that from last week's episode, which was, this isn't how we practice around here. Some of the vets know. Like, is that how we do things here? It reminded me of Jeff Fisher when he was like, that's some 7-9 crap. We're not a 7-9 team. I was like, you're a 7-9 team every single year. Like, you've been developing this 7-9 culture. I got to say, yeah, that with Hue Jackson, when I'm watching this, it does remind me of the Jeff Fisher season. It does remind me of Joe Philbin with the Dolphins, where it is kind of this coach that's right there teetering on the precipice of losing his football team and having coordinators underneath him that are more impressive. And I'm sorry, yeah, maybe it is Final Cuts, maybe it is unfair, but if I'm putting a bet down, there's no way I'm betting Hue Jackson survives this season. I just think that it's going to be Todd Haley's team at some point.
And maybe the fact that they put themselves on television, volunteer for this, give themselves Final Cut, is a sign that they haven't figured out yet that they don't have the answers. And they think that they're out there having the answers, and they don't have it. And there's like a little bit of, especially older guys who've been in a position for a while, maybe not realizing the state they're in, and everyone else can see it, and maybe they can't.
Yeah, we can all see Todd Haley stabbing Hue Jackson in the back real soon.
Yeah, that's why he's got that back stretching machine, the one where he goes upside down. He's like, yeah, just get on here, Hugh. Here, I've tried it. It's fine.
Stop. Mike,
nice and stretched out.
Mike, thank you very much.
Thanks, man.